Hello again, Auto Driveaway. Welcome to Drivetime. Today, my guest is Five Porter, who is one of our drivers. So out on the road, doing the work. Five, thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to the program.
Well, thanks, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
So tell me a little bit about, and it's a very rare treat that I get to speak to somebody who is actually out and about, on the road. How long have you been driving for Auto Driveaway?
The best we can estimate is about 28 years, a little over, something like that. I started it either in the spring of 97 or 98. I'm not sure which.
Holy cow! So how did you get into being a driver? Like, what led you to this crazy profession?
The first time I learned about this job was a movie I watched when I was a kid. And I was 12 or 13 years old and, as a boy, anyway. And I just thought, man, the main character in the movie was a driveway operator who was driving a vehicle from Denver to San Francisco. And I just thought, man, that would be the coolest job ever. So 20 years pass and traveling through Utah, and I stopped to visit my sister. In the newspaper was a classified ad from Auto Driveaway. So I called and was talking to the manager and realized this is the movie.
Right.
And I still thought it was a cool job, and so I started right away, and I've been doing it ever since.
Oh, do you remember the name of the movie?
Oh yeah, it's a gearhead cult movie. It's anybody gearheads that might be watching me right now. It's called Vanishing Point.
Okay.
And anyway, yeah, it's a movie about Auto Driveaway.
Oh my God, that's unbelievable. That's great.
Well,
So
I'm sorry.
You were inspired by this movie, and here you are. You're kind of doing what you wanted to.
Yeah, well, I thought it was a cool job in the movie, when I was 13 years old, but I still think it's a cool job, 50 years later. So.
Right. Wow. So living the dream. So how many do you estimate how many miles per year you probably drive?
Oh, I don't know, 100, 120. I could drive more. I just, I had a separate business for a while that I did, and I like to be at home now more, get things done around. I live on 1.6 acres. It's just never ending.
Right. So 100 to 120,000 miles a year. What do you enjoy the most? Like, what kind of keeps you going? What is it? What attracted you, and what have you found about this job that keeps you going?
Well, the freedom to see and experience America, and Canada. I've been to 47 of the lower 48. I've been to 5 of the 10 provinces, 2 of the 3 territories. I've seen Aurora Borealis. I've been to Liberty Parade, Sturgis, the running of the sheep.
Wow.
And I get to do all that and get paid to do all that. And I wouldn't give it up for anything.
No, that's so I got to ask, what's the one state that you haven't been to?
Maine.
We got to get you to Maine. We got to figure out a way to get you to Maine.
It drives me insane. I've planned it a couple of times, and then one problem was COVID. And anyway, oh my gosh, I just someday I've always wanted to get paid to go there, but if I have to, I'll burn up some of my freaking flyer miles.
Yeah, it is a beautiful state. There are national parks there. It is amazing. So that's a takeaway from this discussion. We got to try to get 5 to Maine. So what's a typical, route for you look like? Like, how many miles? So I know it's 100 to 120,000 a year, but how long are you going in a given move, and then how do you pass the time while you're on the road?
Well, when I first started, I used to keep track. I used to keep track of every move I made, and I wrote it all down in a big list. And I used to average 900 miles one way per trip.
Okay.
So it was pretty good, and I liked going the further distances. But over the years, it's changed. And so, I don't know, an average trip for me, I do a lot of runs to the West Coast, Seattle, Portland, up, northern and Southern California. I don't know. I don't get down to Florida as often as I used to,
Right.
or I don't get the long ones as much as I used to, but I still do every now and then, and that's fine by me. I don't mind being a little closer to home.
Right. And so then when you're driving, are there certain music types you listen to? Do you do podcasts, books on, how do you pass the time?
Well, I'd say about half of the vehicles that I pick up have satellite radio. And so I listen to it. I really appreciate that when that happens, especially the new ones. And if not that, actually over the years, I've learned that there's some rather interesting radio stations around this country if you know where to tune into, in the weirdest places. And also I like to sometimes, even if I have satellite radio, I like to listen to the local news and just to kind of get a flavor for the area I'm going into, see what might be going on, and, what events might be happening that weekend that, maybe I'll go to that thing.
Right, right. So 28 years with Auto Driveaway. I mean, what do you enjoy about Auto Driveaway as kind of your partner?
Well, I know we focus a lot on the fun part of the job, but we don't always talk a lot about the bad days, mechanical issues and whatnot. And I can remember one time I was making a delivery to Yellowknife in the Northwest Territories, and I was about an hour and a half from delivery, and the vehicle I was driving started spitting and coughing and cutting out and everything, and I'm like, I'm 2,000 miles from home, alone, in a foreign country and in the wilderness. But then I realized, well, I'm only about 800 miles from the nearest office. And that's when I started to realize I'm not alone. And,
Right.
I have this huge company behind me. Like if this were to happen today, I'd call my manager, Brad, who's great. And he'd be on it immediately. He'd be arranging a tow truck and maybe a room to, reservation, and get a rental car for me, whatever. He would be on it. And that's nice knowing when you're 2,000 miles away from home.
Yeah, sure. No, exactly. So over that time and you've been, everywhere but Maine apparently, but like, what are there, any memorable moments or experiences that you've had, I can only imagine the things that you've seen and run into.
I've seen a lot of wildlife, over that trip up to Yellowknife. I saw several bears on the way up there. Anyway, I enjoy the outdoors, and I don't know. I think just the times the very first trip I ever did for Auto Driveaway was I had a pickup in Billings, Montana. So I got paid to hitchhike through Yellowstone National Park. It was the first time I'd ever been to Yellowstone, and I just couldn't believe I was getting paid to be there.
Right.
And so I don't know. It's just all the adventures each time you go. If travel the road less traveled.
Right. And I imagine a lot of people. You're meeting a lot of people all the time, right? I mean, you seem like you're a very outgoing person, so I'm sure that's part of it as well, right? When you're going from place to place.
Well, especially when I deal with other offices, it's always nice. I've been around long enough, and I know a lot enough of them that I realize they're kind of like long lost cousins you haven't seen in a long time. When you haven't worked for them for a while, but you give them a call after 3 years, and hey, this is 5,
Yeah.
and they immediately pick up the conversation from where it was, 3 years ago or whatever. And then for the offices that I work for more often, they're more like regular cousins that you get to see.
Right.
I'm treated well, and it's nice again knowing that you've got help. When you're away from home.
Sure. So what's your favorite place? You mentioned Yellowstone. Like, is there a particular, destination or part of the country? I know you focus primarily on the West and the Northwest, but is there a favorite place that you've been able to go to?
Oh yeah, it's easy. Moab, Utah. I've been to 4 continents, 17 countries, and my favorite place in the world still is Moab, Utah. So
Wow.
I like the desert. So, Utah, New Mexico, well, the whole Four Corners region, Utah, New Mexico. If I want to see greenery, then Oregon's beautiful, Vancouver. Anyway.
Right. 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 No, I mean, what a great opportunity that you've made for yourself of being able to see all of these unbelievable destinations that most of us can only dream about, going to all of them. So what do you do when you're not on the road? I know you said you're in Utah and you have a nice piece of property. What do you like to do when you're not behind the wheel?
Well, actually, I like to incorporate some of my hobbies into the job. I'm a runner, so I go out and run every day, and it's really nice with the job that I get to see different terrains, landscapes, kind of like Forrest Gump.
Right.
My goal is to run a marathon in all 50 states. So I'm
Wow.
working on that.
How many
And
have you run to date?
states.
Yeah. I mean, how many
Uh,
marathons have you run?
I've completed 13 of 15.
Wow.
So I've got a ways to go. But yeah, I slowed down a little bit now, so it's actually a little easier. Uh, also, I like to go camping and hiking and trail running, and so this job affords the luxury of being able of the 58 national parks you can drive to. I've been to 34 of them so far,
Holy cow.
and again, I have a lifetime pass for the national parks, so I love anywhere there's a national park. I love to get sent to.
Wow. Yeah, no, that, boy, amazing. I can imagine. Are you working on a book? I'm thinking there's got to be a book coming out with all of your travels.
Actually, the reason I was looking in the classified section of the want ads when I found out about this job 30 years ago was because I was doing research for a book about alternative travel in North America.
Oh,
And
so
I had read about the Driveaway, plus after I had seen the movie. But while I was traveling and I was hitchhiking when I was going through Utah, I was eastbound on 80. And so I was writing about that. At the time, I was writing for this magazine called Big World, anyway. So I just thought, I wanted to interview the manager for Auto Driveaway office, and I did, and wrote an article about that.
okay.
And that's how I ended up in Auto Driveaway in the first place, is because of that book. And I never did finish it. I mean, I've got it all written, but it just needs to be all put together.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
I think it would be quite interesting. Yeah, I think we gotta push that forward.
yeah, well, I called it Not an Axe Murderer, a hitchhiking handbook. And that's all I wanted it to be originally, was just a book on, because I just saw so many hitchhikers out there that don't know what they're doing. And I just thought, I'm just going to start telling people. I went to a rainbow gathering. I ran into a whole bunch of hitchhikers, and I interviewed a bunch of them. And I was like, look, don't hitchhike on this side of a bridge, I mean,
Right.
anyway. But then I realized it just got bigger and bigger, and I had a whole bunch of stories and stuff. And anyway, it'd be an interesting book. I don't know if it's as prevalent now as it would have been,
Right.
30 years ago, but, maybe write a blog about it or something.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Love to hear about your travels from the road. So as we wrap up five, I got to ask about your first name. Are you the fifth, or is it a nickname? Like, how do we know five?
No, it's my real name. I've always wondered if it's the chicken or the egg. I'm an interesting person. I've been told that I have an interesting name. So, am I an interesting person because I've had to deal with the name all my life?
Right,
Or,
right.
and kind of like the song, Johnny Cash song, "A Boy Named Sue." It's given me thick skin over the years. So,
Exactly,
as a
exactly.
kid, but as an adult, it's paid off in a lot of
I
dividends.
think it's a great. Yeah.
I can call an office I haven't worked for in 10 years, and if the manager's still there, I can just, hey, this is five, and they, boom, immediately remember
Right.
who I am.
Right.
So it
So you
pays
don't,
off.
you don't have an older brother named Four or anything like that, right?
No, no.
No, that's great. No, I think absolutely instantly recognizable, and I think fits your personality as well. I think you have such an interesting perspective on life, and I would love to see that come to fruition. So maybe we need to work on that blog or that book deal or something.
Yeah, well, when I started doing the research, a little thinking about this interview, I drug out the papers. It's all in one place, I mean, about that thick of interviews. And at the time, the regulations per state for what hitchhiking was allowed and not allowed and stuff, those are, I'm sure, have all changed. you
Right.
know it's actually gotten better, believe it or not.
Yeah, you don't. To your point, though, you don't see a lot of people hitchhiking like you used to back in the day.
No, you don't. I used to hear, I mean, I've been hitchhiking for a long, long time. I first hitchhiked, I think, when I was 10 or 11 years old. And I've been basically hitchhiking on and off ever since then. And for years, I hear people, oh, you just don't see them anymore or anything. I go like, I see them.
Yeah,
But pretty much kind of since COVID, uh, it's rare you see them now. I
yeah,
agree with that.
yeah,
Sad.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, Five, thank you so much for sharing your story. I really love learning more about you, and I mean, I think your background and your life's journey is fascinating. So I really, really enjoyed it. I just really also appreciate everything you do for Auto Driveaway for these 28 years, and you're such a valuable part of our team. And just want to show our appreciation and appreciate everything that you've done. And like I said, just great getting to know you, and I'm going to look for either the book or the movie deal to come out of your journeys through life. So just again, thank you so much.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. This was fun.